Ryan and I wanted to have an episode where we could focus on the games that made us the people that we are today. And I think we have quite the list of consoles and games for those consoles.
Yeah. We can pretty much blame all these games for the reason why I am the way I am, and then vis-a-vis, concordingly,
Same.
You are the way you are.
Totally. A lot of these games for me started off just in a shoebox. It's literally like 20 games that my parents just had, and I don't know how you... I remember you telling me at one point you would just watch. You had to watch your brothers play.
Oh, yeah. Brandon, feel free to chime in on some parts of this, because there's going to be... Yeah. We'll get to that. That was really disgusting for you to burp like that, by the way, Brandon.
That was you. I'm here. Now that I'm here, I can call you out on these things. So that was Ryan, everybody.
Well, I feel like normally he couldn't blame me because I wouldn't be here, so...
Right.
Maybe I would blame Chewy at that point.
Right. Well, Chewy's asleep, so...
That motherfucker is pooped. He's a pooped puppy.
So...
Can we make a sexy like fireman calendar?
Yeah.
But do it with Chewy and Tucker and call it Pooped Puppies?
Yep.
It's just them sleeping, but we put like laundry on them and stuff.
Yeah, we can do that. You're gonna do it while they're sleeping, though.
This whole thing's gotten real creepy.
You just Photoshop the laundry.
Are there no rights for animals? They just
No, animals have rights.
Yeah, there's like animal rights activists.
But like, if I can fucking put if it's my dog, I can put laundry on Chewy.
Well,
Chewy, you want to wear some lingerie?
You woke him up.
God damn it! Get to the fucking video games, please.
So we're gonna start with the NES because we both basically grew up directly in that era. The NES picked up steam in 1985, and I was born in 1985. What year were you born in?
I was 86.
Yeah, so
Brandon was 84. So he's
so we have
4,
the
5,
full
6.
spectrum here.
4, 5, 6.
That's not really the full spectrum. The full spectrum would be like a grandfather.
Somebody born maybe in the
baby boomer
70s.
days.
They saw the Atari or something like that.
What game do you think, like each of you, played the most on NES? Like the most hours logged? If you had Steam at the time, logging how many hours you played, what do you think would be at the top?
I think I always lean towards the Mario games, whether it's Super Mario 1.
I would say Super Mario 2 for me, because I played 2 like a motherfucker.
I played 2 a lot, but I definitely... I mean, between Mario, the first one, the third one, and World, I just count like thousands of hours.
I got one. I think I spent a lot of time, and I think you spent a lot of time because we'd always played at our grandparents' house. Fucking Skate or Die 2.
Oh yeah, we played that one quite a bit.
And remember the fucking song was like, "Skate or Die, skate or die." That's literally the whole fucking song.
I remember Skate or Die 1, and I remember what would always happen to me is I would start the game. And I had completely no understanding of this game, and then I would just be chased by bees.
Yeah, you were chased by a lot of shit. And then there was one part where it was a fucking vertical ramp, but there was a little smaller ramp in the middle. And if you went up that and landed perfectly on your fucking head, you literally like fucking cracked your whole fucking head open and you just died.
There was blood. Yeah, there was blood. It actually showed blood.
Fucking die.
Pretty fucked up.
I think for me, so I can't decide which of the two games it was. And these games you would not have expected, but I realized it was, we were talking about this, it was either Yo Noid.
I was going to say Yo Noid,
played a lot of Yo Noid.
Oh my God, Yo Noid was
the crazy thing about Yo Noid, if you don't know the history about it, it was a reskin of like a Japanese game that Capcom made with Domino's. They like partnered up with Domino's, so the Noid was like on commercials with Domino's, like always trying to steal pizza.
Well,
I knew
Super Mario 2 was a reskin, right?
Yeah, Mario 2 was
for a Japanese game.
Yeah, so both those were reskins, and then the second one was actually still probably one of my favorite games. I kind of want to go back and just play an emulator of it now. Is the Guardian Legend. It was.
Which one was that? I remember that name.
You were like this character running around, like shooting stuff, if I remember correctly, and stuff like that. And then also you would go into these missions where you could actually like transform into a gunship in space, and you were like it was almost like Galaga style like space shooter, and it was so much fun. But the thing is, like, no saves. It was. I know Legend of Zelda and things like that had saves, but this was a game that had no saves, so you just had to like have it on for hours. It took so long to beat, and it was so much fun. It was like an action adventure game. It was a ton of fun. I kind of want to just go back and play it because it was so hard to beat. And I think I beat it maybe twice.
Nice. I can't believe you said. I was about to say Yo Noid after Scare or Dies, but yeah, because I don't know why it took so fucking long because it was this crazy puzzle where you had to like play with cards to fuck with the other Noid guy or whatever to like try to get as many pizzas as you could.
Yeah.
It was such a weird game.
It was a really weird game. And, like, the reason we played that, again, because it was at our grandparents' house, because, like, I think we just dumped all the shitty games that we had over on their house because they had an extra Nintendo.
Yeah, and we spent, like, the summers over there, so we just fucking hang out and play over there.
Oh, it was so much fun, though. But Guardian Legend was hugely fun. It wasn't even our game. Like, our older brother owned it, but I just always stole it from him and put it in my Nintendo and just played it, and it was a ton of fun.
I don't think I ever played Guardian Legend.
I mean, you were Mario as fuck, though, Fred, right?
Yeah, I mean, my mom was beating Mario, the original Mario, when I was a child, and
that's crazy.
Yeah, and I just remember as a kid just watching her play, and like literally, you know, hitting like these invisible blocks, like these things as a kid confused me. And I just as like moving forward played. You know, I wanted to play part 2. I wanted to play part 3. It just became this thing that was like part of my life.
Fucking Princess Peach was badass on 2. She would just fucking glide down.
Oh, yeah, she could float like crazy. No, that game was awesome.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
Everyone hates on that game because it's not like Mario 1 or any of the other Marios, but it's so much fun.
I think we talked about this a little bit, and I've heard from other, you know, just around game, but like a lot of sequels were so different back then because you look at Legend of Zelda 2, Link to the Past.
No, Link to the Past was...
Oh, shit, sorry, that was 3. Was it Link's Awakening?
No, it was just called, I think... It was
Adventures of Link, sorry.
Yeah, Adventures of Link.
That's what it was. That was just a fucking straight up like side-scroller game, and it was hard as fuck.
Yeah, it was
I never beat it. Apparently the ending was great.
It was sort of more like a Castlevania almost at times.
Well, I was going to say, like, and then Castlevania 2 was different from the original Castlevania. A lot of the sequels during the NES period, they just completely revamped what the popular titles would be and stuff.
Right.
So apparently, I just wanted to come back to Guardian Legend real quick. Apparently, it like still gets reviews today that are like glowing of how good of a game it was.
Why that not be a franchise?
It was published by this like small Japanese publisher called Irem, and it was apparently a sequel to an MSX game. So that's kind of interesting. But I would love to go back and play that game. If you've never played that,
I remember that title. I mean, like the name so much. I'm sure if I saw it, I'd be like, oh yeah, I absolutely remember this shit. That's weird that it never turned. If it was so popular and such a cult like following that it never spawned any.
Well, I kind of wonder if it was a cult following after the fact. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but they could still like somebody has to own those fucking rights still. So Guardian Legends, get that shit out, Fred. Okay, so that was NES days. So pretty much, I remember vaguely the NES. Mainly because of it was after the NES heyday. The SNES was already out by the time I was already like playing a lot of these games on the NES. But the very first SNES game I remember playing, obviously, was probably what everybody else was playing, Super Mario.
Yeah, Mario World.
Mario World, yes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I mentioned this before. I would just motherfucking get Yoshi and ride him on the map from the different areas, but I wasn't actually in the levels. I was just riding Yoshi around like, this is fucking cool.
In the overworld?
Yeah, in the overworld. I'd fucking just cross the river and be like, yeah, me and fucking Yoshi just doing whatever. Well, it's so fucking weird.
Yeah. So, Super NES was the first game system that I owned first. Like, my older brother owned an NES before I did, and it was the first one I owned first. And I feel kind of weird because, like, so many good RPGs, like Japanese RPGs, came out on that system that I've just still, to this day, never played.
Wasn't the original Wild Arms on that system?
No.
Chrono Trigger was.
Chrono Trigger and Secret of Mana and Final Fantasy 3.
Oh, Wild Arms is on PlayStation 1. Sorry, okay, we'll get to that in
even
a second.
Mario RPG, which I don't know. I don't know how many people know about that or played that game, but it was a good one.
So same question.
By that point, they had the fucking handhelds too, Game Boy.
So same question. I think you already answered it, Ryan, with Super Mario World, but was that the same game that you played the most on Super NES?
On the Super NES, so just like you, the Super NES was the first console I ever owned personally. Like, I got it for Christmas. And Mario All-Stars, that was what I got with it.
Oh, yeah. That was a great fucking...
Right. So, I mean, cartridge. It came with Lost Levels, which was, for me at the time, was like a big deal. And then 1, 2, and 3.
God, I forgot about that. That's the very first, like, fucking...
Like, bundle.
Yeah, the very first bundle cartridge game, whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Yeah, like compilation thing, yeah.
And I think they did eventually come out for that again on the Wii at some point. I think they did like an anniversary thing, with the All-Stars.
Well, and that, what's crazy, Link to the Past was on SNES, right?
Yeah, Link to the Past was.
I never fucking played it on SNES. How did I not play that game on SNES?
I rented it from Blockbuster and played it for a little bit, but I didn't get that into it.
Again, that shows how fucking that era we would always go to we'd ride our fucking bikes at Blockbuster and rent that shit.
So 2 games are again on my list for this, and that is Super Ghost and Ghouls.
Oh, one of my favorites.
Yeah, which is a great game. It's a sequel to Ghost and Goblins, which was
Such
another
a
NES game I played.
game.
Like, it's so hard, and that's what I loved about it.
Yeah.
And then the other one's really weird, Mario Paint.
I have fond memories of this game.
You can make music on that motherfucker.
Yeah. So it was
that was the original Mario Maker, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like you could just paint, and you have like stamps of different Mario characters you can put down. You can just draw on it, like you could with Microsoft
wanted to draw
Paint.
a dick on Mario Paint, you could draw a dick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
you could.
before they like stopped you from doing stuff like that early on. Like
I never drew dicks.
I don't know if they could stop you from doing it if they have a paint program like that.
I mean, like, at a certain point, games wouldn't let you put your name in as Dick or Fuck.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I mean, some people's names are Dick if their name's Richard, but I'm saying I never was drawing dicks. But I could see now if I had it, I would draw a dick.
Yeah.
Because I'm 32 years old and I'm a child. And
yeah, so it has this like painting, but then it also had like this weird music aspect where you could just like set the notes and it would just, and then you push play and it would just play it for you.
Yeah, we had so much fun on that.
People are still making music with that today.
Are you serious?
Crazy.
How do you know this?
You can go on YouTube and find it.
Yeah, because like depending on what.
True wisdom is in knowing you know nothing. But in my case, I do know a thing or two.
I don't know.
I didn't fucking ask you, Siri.
So
What the fuck is she saying? Talking about shit.
So yeah. So
What the fuck?
the way music worked in Mario Paint was, if you used the toadstool, it would be a drum. If you used Yoshi or something, it would be like a trumpet. It was weird like that.
Like the different symbols would be different.
Yeah, the different
sounds.
symbols were the different sounds, and then you could set like where it was on the bar. It was so much fun though. It was so stupid.
If you use Luigi, it was just a sad crying man in a corner, depressed as shit because he has no like life to look forward to because he's always living in his brother's shadow. Very similar to how Brandon had to grow up, but
Right.
yeah.
I don't think that's how it went, but you can use your imagination.
Vis-a-vis, concordingly, it did.
Well, the interesting thing about the SNES is that there were a lot of games that I can look back on. I have very fond memories of those games, and naming them as my favorites now might seem a little bit lame, but they were the first of their kind at the time. Donkey Kong Country is one of them.
Yeah.
Street Fighter 2 is another one.
Street Fighter 2 was one I was big on.
Yeah.
The problem was once Mortal Kombat hit on which we'll go through in a second, the Sega Genesis.
Yeah.
Sega Genesis became more of my console than the SNES. Whereas SNES was more your console.
Well, it's weird. Like I say that, like I definitely feel like SNES is more my console, but I can't name near as many SNES games as I can like NES games.
Well, yeah, I do think we had more NES games because that was the main thing. There was not really much competition, even though Sega had a console that competed with the NES. It wasn't until the Genesis console. What was it? It was the Sega. Look at that shit up, Brandon. The original Sega console. And then we will fucking get to it. But what I'm trying to say is
The Master System?
Was it the Master System? That's what I thought. It was something. If I heard it, I would. Yeah, that sounds familiar. That's probably what it was. Sega Master System.
Master System.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that rivaled, or at the time, like it was a competitor to Nintendo, but it really wasn't. But it wasn't until the Genesis came out where that really was a competitor to the SNES. Did the Genesis come out after, Brandon, if you want to be our awesome look-up investigator guy? When did the Genesis come out versus the SNES? Because I want to say Genesis was after.
So the weird thing is it depends what
Country?
country
Yeah,
you're talking
okay,
about.
okay.
So like
In the U.S. I mean, we're
in
talking
the
about
US, the SNES came out in 91 and the Genesis came out in 89. So
What?
Genesis was actually beforehand.
In the U.S.
In the US, yeah, North America.
Shit, I would never have thought that.
And it was also before it in Japan.
Jesus, I never would have thought that. But anyway, I do remember, obviously, Sonic blew the fuck up.
I think what it was is that Nintendo had like some kind of heavy names there. They had Legends of Zelda and they had Mario and Punch Out and things like that. It probably took them in. See when Sonic came out.
Sonic came out in 1991. So yeah, that's really when Genesis found its footing.
I think that's when they were actually able to compete, was when they had a mascot of their own.
Well, so they had Sonic. I remember fucking Toe Jam and Earl. I always go. Yeah, I know you fucking hate it. I love Toe Jam and Earl. Brandon, please back me up on this.
Toe Jam and Earl was fun.
This fucking asshole hates it. There's a new Toe Jam and Earl coming out this year for Switch. Cannot fucking wait. It's supposed to be like a throwback to the old school ones.
Yeah, that game was
amazing. And Fred,
What was the premise? How did you play that game?
you fucking walked around the world. You tried